We're skipping past the music this time. Long story short, this is Toon Kritics' new OC. Special thanks to Sam Otline for getting this picture out so fast as possible. There was an alternative plan involved in all this, but this story sadly leaked to 2 massive chat rooms, then to Twitter, then to Tumblr. But I still feel like I owe you guys an explanation. We, and at this point it's counterproductive to say who we is, the idea of keeping this quiet is the assumption that Toon Critic Y2K, Zach, was going to remake and launch a new channel. There was the idea of having Toon Kritics artist having to start back from square one, remake all the poses over again, and hopefully that artist in Toon would get demotivated enough to quit and move on. There's a bit more to it than that, but I can't reveal all my sources right now. Free heads up for those of you who watch the We Don't Forgive Toon Critic cast, I accidentally put the last How Not to Bronies audio instead of the second half of the podcast. I'll be putting that second half either up by itself or at the end of this video. I'm an idiot and I'm sorry about that. The term enabler gets thrown around a lot. Friends can enable bad habits like drinking, smoking, driving while under the influence. You get the idea. Sometimes people up to and including myself have said doing nothing is an enabling behavior. You may choose to disagree on what is a nod and what is a wink. What really counts to someone giving their approval. Now, we're going to get back to forgiveness in a bit, but today's first topic is a lot more simpler. Cut and dry, straightforward. This is Isaac Collar. To the best of my knowledge, I haven't talked about him till now. If I have, it isn't to any significant degree. In fact, no one has. I want Dr. Wolf, Josh Scorcher, and Silverquill to take a good hard look at this picture. I want all of you, especially who felt that forgiveness was the right way to go. The OC, or the Skype name, is The World We Know. This is Zach, aka Toon Critic. This is his new OC. Silverquill, Dr. Wolf, Josh. I'm going to give you the opportunity to walk back that forgiveness message. I'm Catholic. I love Jesus Christ. I respect my religion. I understand now is not the time or the place to wax on about philosophy. Now is the time for practical application. Practical application, and the facts are this. Toon Critic, instead of trying to improve, has attempted to stay put. I feel I don't need to tell you how dangerous it is to give a child abuser a second chance. Or at least, I shouldn't need to. But here we are. You guys, by now, are asking why I brought up the name Isaac Collar. For those of you not in the know, Isaac is Toon Critic's boyfriend. I keep having to say Toon Critic because there's another channel on YouTube that's been false flagged that goes by the name Toon. Please stop doing that, whoever is. Isaac has been friends with Toon for some time now. I've talked with him briefly from time to time. Full disclosure, until recent events. He's been quiet and polite, and I've had zero issues with Isaac. This picture right here, The World We Know, is drawn by Isaac Collar. For a first-time boner, you sure did pull out all the stops. Some of the immediate words that come to my mind are negligent, reckless, careless, foolish. This isn't some grand I gotcha moment, because I need views. Or I have a hate boner to get Isaac. And my chance has finally come. Isaac, you've drawn artwork for a potential sexual predator where he can represent himself as someone else. That potentially gives Toon Critic a chance to contact minors, or at least people under the legal age of consent, with a visage that looks cartoony, childlike, and give it a safe appearance so that he can start over again. Again, to everyone in the audience, I'm not ordering you to agree with me. I'm not saying you have to take my word for it. Go ask Dr. Wolf, Silverquill, after you see this, and ask them if they feel that Toon Critic should still be forgiven. And if they walk it back, I don't see why we can't let this drop. I've talked to Josh. There is some serious remorse and some obvious confusion. And of the three, as well as from some of my peers, he's been the first to admit there's been some flubs here. Mr. Burner has been more receptive, not only to a discussion, albeit in private. Now is not the time for anyone to be bullheaded. Especially if your perception and beliefs put the well-being of children in harm's way. Isaac, what have you done? It has been short-sighted, ignorant, selfish, and dangerous. Do you understand the potential harm that you have fucking done? For God's sake, stop. I and many of my peers and friends do not understand what you are doing right now. Others other than it is beyond simply saying what you're doing is a bad decision. It is. What possible open discussion can there be? In the past, we've seen from people ignoring the situation, people sweeping it under the rug, or quick to hand an invaluable gift of forgiveness without thinking about the consequences. All pale in comparison to what you've done, Isaac. I don't have words strong enough to admonish you with. Some people in the audience are confused. Why aren't I screaming at Toon? It's simply because I don't believe in the man, and he's given me zero reason to. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't want Toon to find forgiveness. And even if I thought Toon could get his act together, I wouldn't be interested in hearing it. Still, I don't resent forgiveness. Isaac, as angry as I am right now, I'm not saying everyone will. I'm saying if you leave Toon behind. I'm also saying that if you apologize, I can't promise you everything will be right as rain. I can't say that everything will be neato mosquito. But a lot of people want you back. I didn't have to give you this chance. I will be including your DeviantArt down below. I would ask people to think before instantly running off to click on that link. Think long and harder than you ever have, and consider what will be helpful. And if at the end, if you're still angry, I won't blame you. Believe me, I am too. I am, however, hoping that someone smarter and more open-minded and clever than me will reach out to Isaac. And quite honestly, Wolf, Silverquill, if you want to be sincere in your forgiveness message, I think this should be you who sent the direct message to Isaac. Till now, with Dr. Wolf, I've brought up ancient bullcrap from 3 content creators who've long since stopped caring about Wolf. Give and Take, Dear Cotton Candy, and Grasshope, who've had issues with Wolf's payment practices. And I believe mimikage was upset when I pointed out that she did 250 pictures for Dr. Wolf, and if she charged even just $1 for those, that's $250 that she never got. Mr. Wolf, between your forgiveness videos and the insistence to continue to release the D&D videos, there are a lot of people out there who are upset that you also monetize those, for obvious reasons. Now, I'm not going to point that out myself. In fact, I'm going to put an ad right here just because. But you do understand this looks fucking horrible. From the outside, it looks like you want people to forgive Toon so that people won't knock you for having him in your D&D sessions. I'd like to think that's not the case, but that doesn't make it look any less worse. There is one other thing I want to talk about. Someone really high up about 2-3 years ago told me that if I knew why Dr. Wolf needed to keep every dollar of that Patreon from all those artists, it would break my heart. That it was paramount that he needed all of that money. Back then, Dr. Wolf was making $500 a video. Today, he's making $189. Makes you wonder what tortures of the damn Dr. Wolf is going through, having lost $300 or so a month, and is still making every convention he can. I bring this up because I do still hate Dr. Wolf's guts. But for the sake of the people who watch you, I'm asking you to stop telling your fans to forgive a pedophile. Can you do that, not for me or yourself, maybe perhaps your family? Or is your hubris so up your own ass that you can't accept good advice when you hear it? And don't let Doc fool you. People, a lot more likable than me, have gone up to Wolf and asked him, and have told him this. Just like when Cloud Cuckoo Country asked Wolf about his Patreon back in the day, he never budged and spun it in such a way that he needed every dollar. So before we wrap up today, I'm responding to the Burning Donuts latest video. I'm going to jump in at about the 32-second mark.
The mistake I made in the last video was where Vita got the information from. It is absolutely true that Vita did not get the information from the person who was, from the person in the chats. That was a false narrative that was provided by several chats that I was in, and I was going off of information that they gave me because at the time I kind of assumed they were trustworthy. I am no longer in those chats at the moment for varying reasons. Another subject I would like to bring up is that a lot of people seem to be thinking that I brought up Vita for no reason.
Now Donut is referring to the victim that the whole Toon Kritics scandal broke on. For clarification, Donut's source he's referring to in the video here is Shelly D. This is Sheldon, who used to do a Bernie analysis series called My Big Bang Theory on MLP. Now, to be fair, Sheldon duped me early when this story was coming out. But I put most of the lion's share of that blame on so many of my friends not willing to clue me in on what was going on. Now, I don't know if Donut was met with the same level of resistance. Kichi FIM, however, had told me that Donut hadn't bothered to ask anyone and simply relied on Sheldon. Feel free to respond, Donut. There is one other thing that I need to clarify. Donut, as I've been told, is still in the HARP chat, which is something I forgot to bring up in the latest video. When I cut ties with the Burning Donut, the HARP chat, which used to have a presence on YouTube, is run by a self-professed pedophile named Brixie. When I asked the Burning Donut about this, his big excuse was, "But guys, they're my friends." And obviously, there's more to it than that. Donut is still in that chat run by a pedo, because they supposedly protect him from Vita. Again, Donut, you're free to comment down below. I understand the company you keep doesn't necessarily make you Toon Critic, but yeah, there are a lot of little creepy things about you.
Just kind of like, oh, I don't like Vita, so I'm going to put a rant on him in this unrelated video. Well, part of the reason I want to discuss people like Vita is because there is a lot of discussion about behavior and trying to put a stop to it. Trying to put a stop to it before it hurts people. And in my last video, I had mentioned how there were two sides of the fandom. There's the little kid side, and then there's the toxic side. Well, Vita very much represents the toxic side. And it's not specifically focused towards Vita, but like people like Vita and FNGR and all the really just drama-hounded people, there's a lot of behavior where people just want to get attention and they hear a juicy story and...
Now, I'm not made out of glass, Donut.
On top of that, all the SJW language, all the SRS bullshit, where you hear them using words like toxic and signal boost and tone police and all the other 13-year-old girl fucking phrases and terms that shouldn't be anywhere associated with this.
And then there's the toxic side.
So, Donut, if you want to come at me with your 13-year-old girl phrases and Tumblr slang, oh, kiddo. This is the same sort of shit I heard from Ninja when he was talking to me about Monkey Jones's fans. And that's when I could tell I was dealing with a snowflake. Toxicity in the brony fandom. Donut, your King of Limbo was one of the most outlandish shit shows I've ever done. And to be fair, that was because I was blasted off my ass.
Supposed to be 5 people. I will find some asshole to come in here.
Yeah. So I...
Dude, guess what? You got drafted, motherfucker. We're covering the Burning Donut today with Mindless Gonzo and Leaky as soon as Leaky gets here, and we are going to do this by the seat of our fucking pants. I don't care if I've been drinking with my RL friend. I promised Donut that I would do a fucking podcast tonight, and that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
My name is not Sheldon Penderhust. I will fucking get this done, and it will be magnificent, sir.
This will be great.
This will get on EQD. Mark my fucking words.
Of course, Daily, they don't like me over there.
I got Zachary Taylor on fucking... I got Vita. As long as your name is not Digibro, you will get on EQD, Burning Donut.
All right.
But you sure weren't bitching about it. If I remember correctly, I had to threaten Aeon of Dreams to come on and talk to you. And my toxicity was okay back then. And funny, but this is a horse of a different color now, isn't it, Donut? Yeah, I was okay to turn 19 questions into an hour plus in a fandom where I got the Burning Donut a chance to talk to Silverquill, Mindless Gonzo, Mother's Basement, Digibro. You ungrateful cunt. And I'm toxic because I cut you the fuck off because you refused to leave a Discord run by a pedo. Fuck you, Donut.
First news, and it actually seems to be confirmed that there was actually a rape, that Toon Critic actually physically raped someone.
Actually, Donut, for legal reasons, the term you're looking for is allegedly raped. Pretty sure when I covered it, I used the term allegations. Because of right now, Toon Critic has not been convicted, nor has he been brought up on charges. It's kind of odd that you would use "it seems to be confirmed" when in the screenshot you're showing it literally says allegations. Did you just not know what allegedly means? More or less means to make a statement. I mean, allegations is kind of a big word. If you got confused what allegations meant, you might want to post a clarification on that on your channel.
Dirty about this is I remember I was actually in Limbo at one point when Toon was re-added, and he came up and it was like, oh, dude, she's a, I don't like this girl. She's a crazy psycho stalker, is obsessed with me, and, before I grace limbo with my presence, please remove her immediately so that I can grace you with my proper presence. And, like I said, I was a mod in Limbo at the time, and, I didn't question this. I didn't stop to think, like, hey, wait a minute, what is her side of the story? What is her side of, the events that happened? And I think that right now, one of the things that, like, as a fandom, we owe the victims is that if they choose to come out and tell a story, we owe them the platform to give that story.
Now, good on Donut for remembering this. Slight nitpick, Toon was in Limbo. Yes, he was very entitled. And the grace you all with my presence thing wasn't all that far off, as you might think. But yeah, Toon was in the room, but he did put a lot of pressure into getting Massacre Molly kicked. Again, Molly, I'm sorry. I said I was sorry at the time because it felt bad. It was such a strange and odd power play. I do show this clip because I feel guilty about how Molly was treated, and big up for Donut for remembering.
Another thing I'd like to say is there is actually more discussion on this. Like Lily Pete, in Lily Pete's video, and I know a lot of people don't like her and say she's a, and she is a complete raging SJW attention whore, and if we are to take what FNGR says seriously, she knew about this as it was happening, so she herself was part of the problem.
Well, technically I quoted Josh, who said, if Pete knew this already happened, why didn't you act ahead of time? That's a super condensed version. It's also a valid point. It implies if Pete knew, she didn't act. I bring this up because I've been cited. That's basically everything I wanted to talk about as far as that goes. There is one more thing I had a discussion with Josh about I wanted to share here. Josh is adamant to tell you he did not use the specific words bury when he says that they didn't want to make a public statement initially. He later said in his version, which does contrast with the people I talked to, that there was going to be a public statement, and it would be forthcoming. 1. I'm sure Toon Critic didn't approach this girl and say, I would like to molest you. But then again, I didn't read through all those screenshots, so please don't hold me to that. 2. Josh, you said originally you were going to make a public statement about the KP incident, and you didn't. I have reason to be skeptical about you making a public statement. It's been 3 weeks and everyone and their mom has made a video. Finn has 2 jobs and goes to school, and he found the time to make a video. By the way, Finn, we may need to have a polite, concerned talk later. I think you know about why. To be entirely fair to Josh, he came in super late on the Toon Critic drama, and I think it's unfair to lump the lion's share of the blame at his feet. I do think you got really unlucky in an ugly situation. It's not Josh's fault that people have been abused. There certainly has been what I would consider mistakes with really bad timing, and a lot of stubbornness, though I can entirely understand because, well, I do understand that perhaps maybe I and some of the other people who were giving Josh the appropriate advice wouldn't be as rosy as, say, a Dr. Wolf or a Silver Quill. I understand that. And again, anyone who's skeptical about anything I'm saying in this video, by all means, feel free to contact Josh Scorcher, Silver Quill, or Dr. Wolf on DA. Attempt to be as humanly polite as possible. I understand emotions are at an all-time high. I know that there have been a lot of poor decisions made. Forgiveness in this case potentially puts and endangers children in harm's way. Ill intent, petty grudges, and cheap shots aside, I might be willing to say you had the right message, you just had the wrong guy to give it about. There's some middle ground, there's some give, but hey, if you want to keep ignoring my advice, it won't be long before people are going here instead of your channels. Think long and hard about that for a second. If you guys want to practice that forgiveness message, here's Isaac's DA. Go here. He might be worth your forgiveness. Might. Good night. Oh, and one more thing. I regret to inform you that it's unlikely that the tape will be admissible in court due to it being made without Toon Critic's consent. So the odds of Toon Critic going to jail went down a lot. I'm sorry.